Chapter 20. His Holiness. The two giant birds regarded Solomon and Daph for a moment, their eyes trained on them before stretching their large wings and lifting off the ground. Daph stepped forward, and one of the giant birds grasped his shoulders. The second bird followed suit, lifting Solomon and Daph off the howling heights. "See you, mates," called Daph to the other prisoners. "I'm off to the Sunball tourney. Don't have too much fun without me," he said with a laugh, as the hail of curses and abuse flew from the other prisoners. Solomon was surprised by Daph's jovial mood. Wasn't he to be sacrificed? He thought. How could he joke about this? His mind wandered back to his own fate. Who was His Holiness? Why did Daph seem so surprised? His mind went through many different scenarios as they flew from the howling heights and back to the citadel of Ryenhart. The ground changed from the dusty yellow sand to the rocky terrain Solomon had seen when he'd first arrived. As they flew overhead, Solomon thought he saw his craft, a glimmer of something amongst the rocks catching his attention. He saw indeed it was, surrounded by birdmen all inspecting the craft as he flew overhead. Do they know I came in it? Thought Solomon. Is this why I'm being summoned? The rising Ryenhart city caught his attention, and the giant birds flew amongst the yellow birds of the city, joining the throng that soared inside the aviary. Solomon watched as they made their way through the large cathedral and into the center of the city, the glowing orb atop the spire making Solomon feel a pang of guilt. They moved past the cathedral and into an area of the city Solomon had not seen before. The buildings appeared very old, and among them was the large circular building appearing like a stadium. Its bright colors shone in the morning sun, as large banners and signs were draped across it. The birds brought Solomon and Daph towards the building, descending downwards into an open field nearby. Solomon viewed the ground and saw lots of people milling around the large building, while birds landed and took off again. He could read the word Sunball upon the banner and realized it was the stadium, bigger than he'd ever seen before. The field they landed upon was surrounded by high fences, and small tents had been set up on the outskirts. Landing softly, they were both released by the birds, and by another group of birds walking towards them. "Are you Solomon?" asked the voice in his mind link. Solomon said that he was. A female bird stepped forward before the group, wearing a bright yellow jumpsuit. "My name is Cyber's son. I am the organizer of this year's Sunball tournament." Solomon was captivated by her beauty and confidence which radiated from her, despite her bird-like appearance of beak and feathers. "The daughter of His Holiness?" said Daph, amazed. "You are to be silent," Cyber snapped at Daph. "Take the sacrifice away and get ready for the openings of the game," she ordered the nearby birds, who grabbed Daph. "Hey, hold on a sec," he protested, trying to break free. Solomon tried to help, but the birds blocked him. He watched as Daph was carried away, yelling obscenities at the birds, until he disappeared out of sight. "For some reason my father wishes to speak with you," said Cyber bluntly. "Follow me," she ordered, and abruptly turned. Solomon followed behind, staring around at the large stadium before them, hoping he would see Daph. The stadium was a daunting sight to behold, like two football stadiums he'd seen at home had been put together. Large, curved pieces of yellow metal arced over the stadium in scattered locations around it, giving it an appearance of a bird's nest. The metal beams varied in sizes and crossed over each other, masking the inside of the stadium behind the nest. An opening into the stadium appeared before Solomon, and they descended down into the bowels below. "Where are we going?" asked Solomon. "His Holiness is preparing the Sunball tournament," replied Cyber sharply. "He is within." Solomon was silent as they went through the darkened tunnel underneath the stadium until they came to a bright area where strange scraping noises could be heard. Solomon beheld a large flat square upon the roof that had a transparent appearance. Appearing through the roof, he saw the seating of the stadium on the other side. "I'm underneath the field," thought Solomon. Beneath the clear field, huge blocks of stone moved across the chessboard-like floor. They moved horizontally and diagonally, all colored differently and shaped in strange ways. They formed two sets of three and then broke apart again, moving across the field. They stretched across the long field like chess pieces warring against each other. Solomon was surprised to see a geyser shoot out of the top of one of the rocks and into the air above the transparent field. It went high into the sky and then disappeared. "What was that?" said Solomon, alarmed. "My father is testing the Sunball course ahead of the tournament," said Cyber. "This way, please. He's in the control room." Solomon dragged his eyes away from the course as more geysers shot into the sky and back through the underside of the stadium. A metal yellow door came into view, illuminated along its sides by lights. Cyber came to a stop before the door, along with the bird guards. She turned and faced Solomon. "He has requested that you speak with him alone," she said irritably. "Don't try anything funny, or you'll be in the grave faster than you can say Sunball," she said in a deadly quiet voice. "I'm not going to do anything bad," replied Solomon innocently. "Don't keep him waiting." She stepped aside, her narrow eyes narrowing in distrust. Solomon walked past her as the yellow metal door slid open, revealing a soft glow of screens inside. He moved within, the metal door sliding closed behind him and into a small room with monitors lining the walls, all displaying different images. At the center of the room was a bald man sitting on a cushion, with his back to Solomon. "Fortuitous that we meet, Solomon Lillen," said the man, his back still to him. "I've enjoyed seeing your adventures as a traveler from the stars. Although we may be distant from one another, our worlds are not so different, wouldn't you agree?" Solomon was taken aback by the strangeness of his voice, almost melodic and hypnotic. "How do you know who I am and where I'm from?" he asked, perplexed. "I see everything," said the man, still with his back to him. "My eyes can see a great distance, young man, further than those who dwell here, save only one. Do you know the one I speak of?" he asked almost in a whisper. "Do you know of the white shadow that comes?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "It is to be expected," said the man with a sigh. "All will be revealed in time. For now we must do what is before us, not what may be. For it is not upon us yet. For now we can celebrate and act as though there is no danger present." Solomon was perplexed. It was though the man was talking to himself, muttering things under his breath. "Are you okay?" asked Solomon. The muttering ceased and the old man whirled around to face him. Solomon recoiled in horror at the sight of the man's face, stumbling backwards and turning away. "Fear not," said the old man, revealing a crooked smile. "My eyes see all there is." What had frightened Solomon was not his smile, but his eyes. Bright and illuminated light bulbs they were, glowing in the darkened control room. Solomon turned back, but could not meet the old man's gaze, his appearance frightening. "Understandable that you should react as you have. The eyes are the window to the soul, I've once heard. My soul is very bright, as you can see, Master Solomon. Now tell me in your words why you have come." Solomon dared face him again, finding the eyes hadn't softened in their intensity. Beneath the eyes was a kind old man's face, worn with age. No bird alterations upon his body at all. His long and simple yellow tunic upon his body would make him that of a beggar anywhere else in the world. "I was given a quest," said Solomon. "Oho!" said the old man. "A quest, you say? Tell me more." Solomon felt like the old man was teasing him, but went on. "It is to retrieve edges from Gaia and return them back to Earth." The old man studied him for a moment, and then cackled with laughter. "What's so funny?" asked Solomon, a little annoyed. "There is only one so foolish to give such a quest. Abe. It must be 20-something years since I last saw him, which means—" He muttered something and turned away. "That means yes. Yes, of course," he said to himself. "The wormhole has opened once more. Strange that he did not come himself. Instead, he sent you," turning his attention back to Solomon. "Are you alone in this quest?" Solomon shook his head. "I came with others. We got separated in the wormhole and—" "You each landed in a different color," finished the old man. "He plans on retrieving each of the 9 edges and returning them back to Earth. For what purpose, though, I wonder?" Solomon thought a moment. Abe had not said why he needed the edges. "Something or someone is coming," said the old man cryptically, interrupting Solomon's thoughts. "Could it be the danger we face here is the same for Earth? Could he be fighting a war on 2 fronts? He is stranger than I, if you can believe that, Solomon. Despite my appearance, I am more saner than he is. I recall a time where things were much simpler, not as they are now." He fell back into his muttering. Solomon shook his head, saying, "You know my quest, yet you laugh at it. What game are you playing?" The old man's eyes intensified. "You are quick to anger, Solomon. I would not blame you for disliking my reaction to the quest. You must know that it is a foolish journey. None of the colored worlds will relinquish their edges. It is a mark of prosperity, and there are superstitious things about removing them. No doubt you saw the grave from the heights." Solomon nodded. He did. "People believe that is to be the fate of any those daring to take an edge away from its place of origin. You would condemn them to madness and eternal suffering in a place that is not dead but also not alive. Almost a half-life existence. No, none of the worlds will surrender to Abe's request. You are mistaken in coming here to acquire the edge, Solomon. Solomon felt deflated, but the old man continued. I do not dismiss the importance of you coming all this way. In fact, I welcome you ahead of the Sunball tournament. It is fortunate you should be here at such a splendid time. We would have you as an honorary guest at the tournament. No doubt the Sunball is of interest to you? Solomon had grown up despising the sports that his brothers had played, finding solace in books and computers, though he felt less inclined to tell the old man that fact. Of course, he lied. Very good. It is a treat few get to see with their own eyes. Solomon remembered the things he'd seen moving underneath the force field. What are those things out there? He asked. See here, said the old man, gesturing towards the screen which illuminated and displayed a picture of the stadium from above. Solomon moved closer and saw the entire field, akin to a football size, with a chessboard-like pattern upon it. Surrounding the field were stands that had perches and seats, all wrapping around the outside of the field. A burst of yellow smoke caught his attention from the middle of the field. That is the geyser that moves beneath the field. There are three types: air, smoke, and fire. A wall of flame erupted from the far end of the field, stretching to the top of the stadium. What are they for? Asked Solomon. To test the champions trying to make it to the other end, of course, said His Holiness. A champion takes the sunball and tries to make it from one end of the field to the other. They may traverse by foot or by air. A champion who scores the most sundowns in the fastest time is the winner. A sundown? Said Solomon. Yes, there have been some wonderful ones over the years. The reigning champion Nana has some you can watch on the Sunball link, he suggested. Yes, not many make sundowns, he mused. Nana is the exception. He will be competing along many others. Cockatoo Collins is one to watch. Perhaps you've heard of him? Solomon remembered the crested hair and felt his backpack. Yes, I have his wings. I did see that, and I have high hopes for him, said His Holiness. Perhaps he could be the first non-altered contestant to win. They are at a great disadvantage to those without them. It is no surprise they do not make it very far. I must ask you not to fly so closely to the edge again, Solomon, lest your stay with us be short, he cautioned, a glint of darker colour appearing in his eyes. Why did you bring me here? Asked Solomon, other than to mock the quest Abe has tasked me with. I welcome all who step foot or claw within Ryenhart, said the old man. I do not share the division of colours as other nations do. Whether you are from Imperial, Lian Saroon, or another planet altogether, we should welcome everyone. I wanted to show you, despite your quest, that Ryenhart is a place of belonging. You are going to be here for a while anyway. What are you talking about? Said Solomon. Abe told you about the wormhole, did he not? Asked the man incredulously. Surely you know of it. I travelled through it, replied Solomon. No, no, not what it's like to go through, though I hear it's quite spectacular. I'm talking about how long you have before it closes, and the time until it opens again, said the old man. Solomon's heart felt as though it had a cold hand close around it. Flashes of conversations about time and the wormhole raced through his mind. Solomon remembered it was Kobe's birthday. 21. Yes, said the old man solemnly. You'll be with us for quite some time, Solomon. It is fitting that you arrived here and not anywhere else on Gaia. I doubt they'd made anywhere near as much as an effort. Your friends sent to those other colors are as good as dead, he surmised. You don't know that, flared Solomon. I can speak for the places they've gone to, countered the old man. Warring nations would not welcome those from outside them very warmly, Solomon. They are suspicious of anything that is not them and patrol their borders fiercely. I suspect many do not share the same hospitality that I show you. Those lands of Imperial grow every day, slowly pushing into territories through brute strength and numbers. Lian Saroon teeters on civil war with them wishing to take the land as opposed to those who wish to stay in the sea. You have come to a place that does not welcome outsiders, Solomon. It shuns strangers and kills those who do not have the colour that matches. Abe was unwise to send you here despite his intentions. He sent you here to die, he said finally. Solomon did not want to hear it. He felt his face go hot with anger. Could he be right? How could Abe not tell them they'd be sent to such a dangerous game? What about Kobe and Ruby? Were his friends okay? His mind stayed with Ruby, concerned for her safety and well-being. Unless, of course, you are the Singularity, said the old man. Solomon turned and saw on the monitors there was a picture of Kobe, surrounded by blue scaly women. Kobe! Exclaimed Solomon. What circumstances changed with his arrival I cannot foresee, mused the old man, but I'll be watching with great interest. The monitors changed once more to the stadium. The game will start shortly, Solomon. Solomon's mind jolted. What about my friend Daff? He's going to be the sacrifice? The old man's eyes flickered in surprise. You best not attach yourself to a sacrifice, Solomon. What's going to happen to him? He asked. The tournament is christened with the blood of the youth, so that the champions may be vitalized with their energy. You're going to kill him? Said Solomon aghast. It is a customary tradition, Solomon, said the old man sharply. It is the way it's always been. Can you find another sacrifice? He took care of me and enough, said the old man. I've spent enough time answering your questions. A pleasure to meet you, Solomon. Enjoy the tournament. I'm sorry for your friend, but he will aid the spirit of the Sunball tournaments. Farewell, he said, turning away. The door behind Solomon opened, and the two bird guards came in. Wait, what about? He said, trying to break free. But the old man stood staring at the screens as Solomon was dragged away, and the door slammed shut.